Joining us in the studio is a young man called Phivo Christodoulou. I know him as Phivo, the dog health guy. Welcome to the Informer.
Thanks, George. Thanks for having me.
You've been in the business of looking after animals for how long?
It's been about 10 years now, all up.
10 years.
Just over 10 years, yeah.
And you're doing something that's very different to the average person who looks after animals, and you've copped a bit of flack of lately.
Yeah.
In fact, we'll talk about that in just a moment, but how did it all start for you, this journey of looking after animals?
August 5th, 2010, I got my dream dog, Augustine, as a puppy, a beautiful boxer puppy.
Okay, so let me pause there. Augustine Approved is your company. So did it all stem from the purchase of that animal?
Yes, I was in video production. I had a company for years. Nothing, I couldn't even look after myself, really. And then
That's a leap of faith?
It was. Augustine wasn't as vibrant as you'd expect out of a puppy, and I started researching, and I found that all these ingredients that should be in food for our dogs are not. And a lot of the commercial foods aren't very healthy. So I just got into the kitchen and I started dabbling, and I came up with a recipe that got her better, and then other people's dogs were getting better, and I said, I've always wanted to work with animals.
Did
so
you dig into
excuse.
your mum's Cypriot cooking to find out some of the secrets, or was it much more than that?
It was more than that. I just couldn't believe that no one had pieced it together, and the thing that a lot of people have heard me say over the years is that all these pet foods would say pet food only, not for human consumption. And I was thinking, well, how good can this stuff really be?
Can I just hold you there for a moment? Because many years ago, I worked with a guy called Graham Kennedy.
Yes.
And one of the things that Graham did on live television was opened a can of Powell dog food and proceeded to eat it. It was one of those moments that stopped television in Australia, and if we had social media, it would have gone off. We had water coolers in those days, and of course the water cooler talk was all about, did you see Graham Kennedy eating the can of Powell dog food? I should add, the sales of Powell went through the roof. Okay, so take me back.
Yeah, so well, I faced all the stereotypes because my company was the first in the world to make 100% certified organic products for
Just
dogs.
for animals?
Well, under human standards. So the people basically assessing the business for the local council, for the NASA certified organic, they thought I was pretty much crazy because no one had done it. However, now we've broken that stereotype.
Yep.
And you see everywhere it's organic or natural and so on, and it's quite nice to see that I guess all these products are trying to improve and our dogs are getting the benefit.
I think it's a terrific idea, but you got a tap on the shoulder about 4 years ago from the animal equivalent to the TGA, which is the Therapeutics Goods Administration. The animal kingdom suddenly thought that you were not persona non grata, but they wanted to gather information. Where do you sit with that current situation? Is it before the courts? Are you still talking?
We were about to file. It's a multi-million-dollar lawsuit against the department that you're talking about, the APVMA.
Yep.
And then all this virus stuff started.
What has been their greatest beef? What is the thing that has set off an array of flares that they feel uncomfortable about?
Sure. I would make the argument that Dracula owns the blood bank, and what I mean by that is when you have organic products that are doing what the registered pharmaceutical products are claiming to do without the side effects. In a healthier way, that presents a problem for that industry. The trouble is that there is the legislation governing the safety and efficacy of animal products is so out of date that there is no clear path for companies like mine to register their products.
Can't you get it rewritten?
That's what we're fighting for.
I see.
Trouble is
so that's your counter suit, or what you're very keen to get into the court to do.
Correct.
Is get this before the courts and to say to them, look, we want to go organic. Please let us do that, because the wording at the moment, from my understanding, is at the moment it's worded in such a fashion that it almost precludes you from doing almost the most proper thing for the health of your animals.
Correct. The irony is there, you have an organisation that is there for the safety of our animals.
Are they clearly working on the Hippocratic Oath, which is, what's the first tenet? Do no harm?
Well, I wish, because the trouble is, when you look at the panel of people that work there, their backgrounds are all pharmaceutical, veterinary. There is no understanding of nature. And when we have that...
They would argue differently, though. They would say to you that we have a pretty fair idea of what it is. But let's continue the conversation.
Well, when you have a group of individuals, when you look at the legislation, how it's written, it does not cater for natural products. Australian Pesticides, Australian Pesticides and Veterinary Medicines Authority, pesticides and veterinary medicines. That doesn't really include natural. It doesn't work.
No, I can understand where you're coming
from. And I think
from.
they got a shock when people started bringing out natural products and didn't know what to do with it. What I would argue is they should be either at their own accord looking at amending the legislation to include us, or giving us a pass.
What are your customers saying to you?
Customers,
they're
loving what we do because they can see the difference.
And they see the outcome in their animals.
Correct. And the thing is, everything's coming full circle. We went from nature for thousands of years, then the pharmaceuticals came in, and the marketing spin came in, and we see that...
Well, Eastern medicine is still doing that, isn't it?
Well, yeah, the people are fed up, and this is the most tragic thing, is that people are losing faith in their veterinarians, and to me, I have an issue with that, because veterinarians are there to save lives.
Correct.
So I'm not trying to turn people away, but let's say your dog has a skin issue, which could be a result of a number of pharmaceutical things, and then you put them on more pharmaceutical drugs and more, and we go in this cycle. When you're masking everything, you're not solving anything.
Right.
And the trouble is people losing faith in the vets are there. So when there is a serious problem that is for the veterinarians, people don't go. They don't want to go there because that disconnect has happened.
How far away are you from getting to the courts?
Hopefully just a few months away. We wanted to see what would pan out. We want to make
sure
that...
COVID has complicated everything?
Well, yes. We want to make sure that the right people can turn up.
And tell me... you started off by being a filmmaker, a documentary maker.
Yes.
I think you're actually working on one as we speak, are you not? About this very case.
Yes, it's been quite a few years. It's called Where's the Harm?
So are you writing the scripts and rewriting the scripts? And
It's an evolving story, isn't it? So we wanted to see what would happen with the court case and the outcome, and we're very confident because what we will allege as well is that the people acting at the time in October of 2016, I think it was, they took out a warrant on my house, which was absolutely crazy. They had things that were of interest, like turmeric, coconut oil, green lentils.
All the things that your mother and my mother used to keep us going.
And you know, all these people making curries should be under arrest, you know. And it's all scare tactics, I believe, but when you have these crazy things happening, and I will also allege that they took out a warrant 6 months past their statute of limitation.
Okay.
So you
all
have
of that to be discovered in the court.
Oh, absolutely, and they know that.
Okay.
And unfortunately, we also know that they're continuing to do that to companies today.
Look, at TheInformer, we try as often as we can to get behind the news, to discover a little bit more about the stories that are making an impact on people's lives. This clearly has created enormous angst for Augustine Approved, which is the company, and for your family, the Christodoulou family. We wish you success in the courts. I'd love to see if you can get them to turn or change some of that wording, because if you can get that wording, as they say, to fit and make it fit for purpose, then everyone wins. The animals, the owners, and ultimately the company.
And that's why I'm a dog. I'm like a dog with a bone.
You will not let go until you finish.
No, because we see it. We see the damage that's done every day, and it's being ignored. So we have to.
And by the way, how is the original Augustine?
Augustine, I just got a rescue wolfhound cross on Saturday.
Oh wow!
And she was out before sprinting with him. He's only a 2-year-old pup, and she's still at nearly 11. She's giving him a run for his money. So she's really living up to the brand.
Well done. All right. Phivo Christodoulou, thank you for joining us on TheInformer, for giving us a sense of some of the challenges that you've been facing for the better part of the last, I think, 4 or 5 years. We want a speedy outcome. The last thing you want is to, spend your time, in court, nothing worse, and to come out with an outcome that is a win for everybody. Yeah.
Thank you, George. We're really grateful that you have me.
And I want to see the documentary when it's finished.
Absolutely.
Thank you, mate.
Thank you.
There he is, Phivo Christodoulou, Phivo, the dog health guy, who's got, as they say, a bone, and he's not going to let go until they get to the bottom of it.